Hello, everyone. Hey, it's Eric Nichols, President and CEO of Independent Insurance Specialist. I've been helping seniors and veterans for over 28 years understand Medicare, their health care, financial annuities, things like that. So I've had a lot of my clients say, Eric, you helped me so much. You taught me so much. I wish you just send this or put it in a video so I could share with friends or I can relook at it. So I've started this YouTube channel just to start making some quick little videos to help out. Today is going to be a quick one. Today is understanding Medicare A and B only. I do have another video understanding Part A, Part B, Part C, and Part D. Today is just simple. Just if you are going on to Medicare and you want to know what Medicare Part A and B cost, I'm not going to get the premium today. I'm just going to go over the cost. So Medicare is broken down into two parts. Part A, which is hospital. Part B, with your health insurance. So if you have worked 10 years or more, as you can see, and everything I get, I don't do fancy slides and PowerPoints. Everything I do is I try to get from sites that you can look and go along or go back and research. So today I'm pulling this from Medicare.gov. I'm going to go ahead and put this link in the bottom description so you don't have to go search around the place. You can just click here and it'll take you to Medicare. Um, but here's part A. If you've worked more than 10 years your whole life, you basically do not pay for part A. Okay, that's going to be free. When you look and you need part B, I'm going to scroll down here. Part B, which is going to be your health insurance, your medical insurance, that is $185 a month. And you have to have Part B or you will start incurring a 1% penalty per month. So 3 months before your 65th birthday, the month of your 65th birthday, or 3 months after you enroll in Medicare's Part A and Part B, you will pay $185 a month for Part B. Excuse me. One thing to know, okay, if you are still working and you have company insurance and you're working, you have great health insurance, you're getting ready to turn 65, you do not have to go on Part B. You just need to apply for Medicare Part A only, and that hospital is going to be secondary to your company insurance. And then you need to actually show and send proof of credible coverage to Medicare, letting them know that you're still going to keep working past your 65th birthday and you do have company insurance. Or if you're maybe a city worker or a county worker, I know I've talked to some jailers and some federal agents, federal employees, where they were allowed to keep their company insurance and it was incredible insurance. But you always want to compare. But if you just have outstanding insurance and you decide you don't want Medicare, don't let anyone tell you have to take it. As long as you've had company insurance through that initial 65th birthday and you're going to have it through there, you can call Medicare or send it back and say, hey, I only need Part A now. I can get Part B later when you lose your company insurance. And if you ever do lose your company insurance, you have 63 days to call and go back and add Part B. Okay, so that being said, let's just do the coverage real quick. So for Part A, hospital, there is a $1,676 deductible every year. And the problem with Medicare is it's unlimited. There is no maximum out of pocket. So if you look right here, it just will tell you that there is no limit. So let's say, and for deductible, it's 0 to day 60. So if you go in the hospital 1 day, 10 days, 30 days, 50 days, it's $1,676. It's one time. But again, just so you know, that's going to pay for your room, your board, your food, your medicine, and your nursing. It does not pay for your surgeon, your anesthesiologist, your doctors. That's going to fall under Part B under health insurance. So you'll get kind of billed kind of separate a little bit. But again, there's no limit. So let's say you go into the hospital for 4 days. You have open heart surgery. For the hospital portion, you'd pay $1,676. You go home 4 days later, you're home for 2 weeks, you get MRSA, you get an infection. You come back, you're in the hospital, they have you in the hospital for, let's say, 10 days. It's another $1,676. Then you get released, you go home, you're doing fine. All of a sudden, your stent or the infection comes back. You go back, they say, oh, you're going to need to be in the hospital a couple more days. It's another $1,676. So every time you go in or you come out, you can look right over here. It starts the day you're admitted and it ends when you've gotten out of the hospital. And that's consecutive days in a row. Okay? Now, let's say you go into the hospital and here's where your days 1 through 60, you're just going to pay that deductible. But days 61 to 90, so if you're in there for 90 days, after day 60, so you've paid the deductible, days 61 through 90 starts becoming a $419 every single day for those days. If you're in longer than 90 days, it's 91 to 150. It then becomes $838 per day. So I'm just doing a quick overview. I do have a video again on Medicare A, B, C, and D. That's a different video you can look at. I just wanted to do a quick overview on Medicare A and B only. So after 150 days, if you were in there 150 straight, you pay 100% of the bill. Now, what's not covered? Again, private duty nursing, television in your room, a phone in your room. So most people now use their cell phones, but you want to check on the private duty nursing. You'll also pay for a private room unless it's medically necessary. So there's some people that will say, I don't want to share a room with someone. The guy next to me is sick. I want my own room. You can. Medicare will not cover that unless it's necessary. Unless maybe you have MRSA or unless you are in a condition that you can't be next to someone else. Other than that, though, this is something you always want to check on to make sure if you're in a room by yourself that Medicare is going to cover it. Okay? So that is going to be for your hospital. Then when you get sent to skilled nursing, which is rehab, that's not assisted living, that is not nursing home. Those are not covered under Medicare. So what this means is you're in the hospital, you had a stroke, let's say you're in there for 10 days, your deductible would be $1,676. They tell you you need to go have skilled nursing, so you need to rehab your occupational therapy, speech therapy, physical therapy. They're going to work on getting you better. The first 20 days are zero. Then, as long as you are showing signs of improvement, Medicare will cover days 21 to 100, but you are responsible for $209.50 per day. That's what you would pay. If you're in there and you just are not getting better and you're not showing signs of improvement after 20 days, they're going to send you to an assisted living, they're going to send you home, or they're going to send you in a nursing home. Assisted living and nursing home, that's self-pay unless you have a long-term care policy. If they say if you can't afford that, you're going to go home and relatives take care of you. If you go where you're going to need skilled nursing, you're paying $209.50 per day. This can get costly, you guys. So again, I just want to kind of make sure you understood that. Home health care is zero for home health care services. So home health care is if you've been in the hospital, they send you home and your doctor feels that it's too hard for you to come into a doctor appointment, come into a specialist, or come back in, and they can send a doctor to your house or a nurse practitioner to do it, they will cover that. For example, my mom had COVID, and she was hospitalized for, I think it was a month. Luckily, she made it. She came home, but she was on the oxygen machines at home. We were taking care of her. And a nurse practitioner would come visit because with COVID and the oxygen, she was unable to get to doctors and specialists for a checkup. So they would literally have a nurse come to our house. She would open up this big computer. She would do her blood pressure, test everything, look at her oxygen levels. That was covered under Medicare for zero. If you need durable medical equipment, so if you need a walker, a wheelchair, an electric scooter, a hospital bed, any equipment like that, it is going to fall under 20%, and Medicare does have to approve it. If you need hospice care, you can look down here. There is zero copay for hospice, okay? So what you need to know is that's Part A, that is your hospital. Now, Part B is going to be your health insurance. So again, we talked about the premium. Let's not go over that. So now, Part B, every year you start off, you have to pay a $257 deductible each year, just one time. And then after you pay that, it is co-insurance. You will pay 20%, okay, right here. So that 20% can add up, okay? And again, the 20% is the doctor has to accept Medicare assignment. That is extremely important. I'm going to show you a slide. So I think around 2025, only about 1%, maybe 2% of doctors do not accept Medicare assignment. And 1% of the doctors just went ahead and opted out of Medicare altogether. So what that means to you is that if you go in and a doctor says, I charge $200 for a doctor visit, Medicare is going to say, no, we only approve $100 for a doctor visit. That's what Medicare assigns as an acceptable amount the doctor can bill. Medicare will pay 80%. You will pay 20% of that bill. Okay? Now, the thing with that is they can charge what's called excess charge. And what excess charge means is that if the doctor says, I don't accept that $100, I'm going to charge more. Medicare says, listen, we will pay 80%. The client will pay 20%. If you don't accept that, you are allowed to bill the client 15% more of the $100. So this is how that works. If it's a $100 bill, 80% would be $80. 20% would be $20. That's what you'd pay. If the doctor says, I don't accept that, then the doctor could bill 15% more of $100, which is $15. So you, the client, would have to pay the $20, 20%, plus the $15, 15%, you'd pay $35 if you only had Medicare A and B coverage, if you did not have a supplement. And I'm going to have a video below which talks about Medicare supplements and to help you out understand that as well. Okay, real quick, I want to at least show you excess charge because I do not know why on the chart I'm showing you that they don't have excess charge. That's why I'm saying the Medicare.gov site is impossible to know the ins and outs. So me with 28 years, that's why I'm here to help you. So what I did is I'm on Medicare.gov. I had to Google excess charge. Now, excess charge is also called limiting charge, but most of the industry calls it excess charge. So what I did is I went to Medicare.gov, and again, here's if your provider accepts Medicare. Right here it says, what if they don't accept Medicare? All right, so let me blow this up a little bit for you. We're going to go here. I highlighted it, and Medicare will tell you some providers who don't accept Medicare's approved amount, it's called non-participating. They can charge you more than Medicare approved amount. In many cases, they can charge more up to, but not more than 15% above the Medicare approved amount. And this amount's called limiting charge, excess charge. So that's important. How you want to do this is you can go, and I'm going to put a link right here for you guys. And you can literally come right here, and this is going to be a welcome page, but you can see if your doctor accepts Medicare. So when you're going on to Medicare, turning 65, you can check. Even if you're over 65, let's say you want to choose a new primary care, or all of a sudden you've been diagnosed with diabetes or cancer, heart problems, and now you have a new specialist or a new oncologist. You literally always want to check. So I'm going to put the link below. So you are never going to find this on Medicare. You'd have to search forever. All you do is you'll come down here, you click doctors. I live at 19, so I'm in Pennsylvania. That's where I live. I'm going to put my primary care. Christine, there's my doctor. Oh, where'd she go? So she was down there. Oh, there she's come down here. So here's my doctor. I'm going to put Christine Meyer. It pops up, and here it says, charges the Medicare approved amount. So again, if they do not accept Medicare, it's going to say does not accept Medicare, does not accept Medicare approved amount. Christine Meyer accepts it. That means I'm all good. I can go there. She's going to accept Medicare, whatever they agree to as a charge. That's what she's going to have to go off of. She cannot bill more or less. That's called balance billing. So that's illegal. So if your doctors, 98, 99% of the doctors in the United States, they've agreed to what Medicare says. There's 1% that just says, no, I don't agree. I'm going to bill my client more money. They can do that if they've let Medicare know they're non-participating to agree, but they can only bill you 15%. So I hope that helps out a little bit more. So you really got to watch it because it can get costly. And again, it is unlimited. So if you are in the hospital and you are battling cancer, or let's say that you have a heart attack, that's much easier. If 50,000, let's say it's a $100,000 bill. If 50,000 of it was the hospital, the room, the board, and if 50,000 was your surgeon, your anesthesiologist, and that, how it would work with Medicare is on the 50,000 for the hospital, you were probably only in there, let's say 4 to 6 days. You would pay $1,676 right here for the deductible, and that's because it covers the first 60 days. So you wouldn't be billed 50,000, you'd be billed 1,676. Medicare would pay the difference of that. Now your Part B, the surgeon who saved your life and the anesthesiologist that took care of you, let's just make it simple and say combined they billed $50,000. And let's say you haven't paid your yearly deductible, you would pay $257, and then you would pay 20% of the balance. So in ballpark, on 50,000 minus 257 is about 49,700 and change. You would pay 20% of $49,000. That's almost $10,000. So you would pay almost $10,000 for the surgeon and the anesthesiologist that came and took care of you, and you would pay $1,676 for the hospital. So again, I do videos so you can go back and watch this because it does get a little confusing. When it comes to your lab work, under Medicare, it's $0 for covered lab services. Home health care is $0. Again, if you are sent home and you can't get back to see a doctor or specialist, they can go ahead and approve a nurse practitioner or a doctor coming to your house and checking on you and doing your visits. There's a $0 copay. 20% again for your walker, your wheelchairs, things like that. And again, that can get expensive because if you're getting one of those little scooters and let's say that's $6,000, 20% of that, you're literally going to pay 20%, you're paying $1,200. So that can get quite costly, okay? In hospital care, again, that's 20% of all the doctors that see you in the hospital. Outpatient health services, so your depression screening is $0. And then for your outpatient, it's 20%. Again, you just want to keep looking because hospital care outpatient is 20%. So the reason I say it's important to understand Medicare, just in a summary, is that Part A is your hospital, Part B is your health insurance. I have clients that are going on to Medicare that say, I've worked for 40 years of my life, I've been putting in, I didn't know Medicare cost. Yes, it's $185 a month, but if you make a certain income And that's what you want to check because, and I did another video, but you have got to check because if you're single and make over 106,000, I believe it is in 2025, or you filed jointly and you're married, I believe it's 211,000. If you make more than that, then you pay a lot more. You're going to actually have to pay a different premium for that. So that is something that when you go into Medicare, probably 95% of my clients don't pay for Part A. They're going to go ahead and pay for Part B. And here's that chart I was telling you. So here's 106,000 if you file individual, 212,000 if you file joint, okay? You would pay $185 a month for Part B. If you make more, 106 to 133, so you just follow this chart, you're going to pay $259. If you make 133 or 266, it's $370. So I have some clients that have done very well. They've owned their own businesses. They make a pretty large income. And they may say, Eric, I'm single. I still make about $185,000 a year. I lost my company insurance. I'm not ready to retire yet. I'm still working. I'm 65 and have a good job. And I'll say, well, if you make $180,000 a year and you're single, or you're let's say that you're 65, let's say your wife is 58, both of you have great jobs, and you lose your insurance when you turn 65 and you go on Medicare, you might pay $480 a month. So if you don't understand this, in the link below is my information. Definitely call me if you're a higher income earner because you definitely want to know about this so you understand. But again, this is just A and B, and I'm trying to help you understand and make it a simple video that you can kind of follow through and understand it. Again, very quick review. Part A is hospital. You pay $1,676 for days 0 to 60. Most people aren't in over 60 days, so that's pretty common. If you are in over 60 days, it then becomes daily after that, $419 each day, days 61 to 90, $838, days 91 to 150. Over 150, you pay everything. And it doesn't retroact. What that means is you would get a long bill. It would say 1,676, 419, 419, 419, 419, 30 times. And then it would say 838, 838, 838, 838 on top of that. And then if you were in longer than that, then it would just be whatever the remaining bill is you would pay. Again, that's for your room, your board, your nursing, your medicine, and things like that in the hospital. Then remember, your doctor, your specialist, your anesthesiologist, anything like that is going to be a one-time-a-year deductible after you've met 257. Pretty much you pay 20% for everything, except your lab work and services like that. So I hope this was good enough to kind of review. I know there's some things out there with charts and graphs and fancy stuff. At the end of the day, I like to just go through the site where you can go yourself. Again, down below, I'm just going to include this link up here that you can go right to Medicare and you can review what I'm doing. And when you're looking, sometimes over here on the right, you can search. Medicare is not the best at publishing stuff. It's tough to find stuff. That's why I use links. But I use links that are documented for you, the clients. And again, you have my information below. You can call me on my cell phone, 630-400-5445. You can text me. You can email me, eric.nichols@yahoo, eric.nichols@yahoo. Go to my website. That is www.independentInsuranceSpecialist.com. Or go to my Facebook. I post, you guys may want to join and subscribe my Facebook. I post a lot of articles for veterans and seniors as well. So I hope this video is helpful. I know there's a lot out there, but this is something that my clients, my new clients want to know. I spend a little bit more time instead of putting a 5-minute video together because you cannot understand Medicare in 5 minutes. So have a blessed day. I look forward to helping you and look forward to more of my videos. Subscribe to my channel. They're just going to be helpful videos that I'll keep posting. Thank you and have a great day.